From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the daily news, and these are the stories we are covering at this hour for May 6th. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said he believes President Donald Trump is suffering from cognitive problems and that his condition is getting worse. I think the man has dementia, he told Politico, then gestured to his head as he added, I don't really understand how it works up there for him. Pritzker, who took office in 2019, dealt with Trump during his previous term, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. He said he's noticed a difference, even though he hasn't dealt with Trump directly since he returned to the White House. Oh my goodness, this time it's much more pronounced, he said. And from day one during the campaign, I think I felt that. Pritzker is widely considered a potential presidential candidate in 2028 and often engages in verbal sparring with Trump. The president, in turn, frequently mocks Pritzker's weight. He doesn't seem to like me, Pritzker told Politico. He mentions me very often and sometimes completely out of the blue. He's not talking about Illinois. He's not talking about Chicago. Somehow I pop up in his head and he wants to take after me. Well, Pritzker isn't the only one with that thought pattern. Apparently, some children in the Oval Office got a little scared about the same thought. The same thing, really, yesterday. You see, President Donald Trump spoke of guns and violence as children surrounded him at an Oval Office signing ceremony. The president, moments after the Daily Signal's Elizabeth Troutman Mitchell mentioned a recent interview where he suggested that arming the Iranian people could help them fight back against their country's regime, he declined to say whether the U.S. would arm them soon before turning to their lack of guns. So you could have 200,000 people protesting and have 5 or 6 people with guns, Trump said. And when they start shooting them right between the eyes and you see a guy fall and another fall and you have no guns, as Trump painted graphic imagery to reporters in the Oval Office, several kids, none of whom appeared old enough to attend an R-rated movie alone, stood around him at the Resolute desk. The youngsters stood by the commander-in-chief for a photo op as he signed an executive order to bring back the presidential fitness test to public schools. What does any of that have to do with shooting in Iran? Trump marched on with his violent talk, repeating an unfounded claim that Iranian officials killed 42,000 unarmed people who protested the regime last month. Last month was April. There were no protesters. They were all in hiding. So they had a 250,000 people crowd, and they had snipers. They had like 4 or 5 snipers in the buildings up high, the president said, none of which made any sense to the children surrounding him for the presidential signing. None of it. In other news, Democrat Chedrick Greene won a special election in Michigan on Tuesday, securing his party's control of the state Senate through the remainder of Governor Gretchen Whitmer's term. Greene, a firefighter and Marine veteran, defeated Republican Jason Tunney, a former prosecutor, in the race for Michigan's 35th Senate district, which includes Saginaw and Bay City, and is surrounded by more conservative rural areas. Democrats had held a 1-seat majority in the chamber, putting control at stake. I just want you to know who's had your back for 31 years. You can be sure I'll still have your backs in Lansing, Greene told cheering supporters at a watch party referring to the state's capital city. Libertarian candidate Ali Sleds lagged far back in third for the seat, left vacant since January 2025. Tunney conceded the 35th state Senate district race, saying he fell short, but vowing to run again in November. The term at play in Tuesday's election runs only through the end of the year, leaving the seat up for re-election again in the fall. And in Pennsylvania news, drivers in Pennsylvania are paying sharply more at the pump than they were a year ago, as gas prices continued a steady upward climb heading into the summer travel season. The average price for a gallon of gasoline in Pennsylvania was $4.57 on Tuesday, according to AAA, about $1.25 higher than the $3.33 drivers were paying at this time last year. Prices have also risen quickly in recent weeks, up from $4.26 a gallon a week ago and $4.14 a month ago. To be clear, while the rest of PA may be paying $4.57 per gallon, some of us here in Northwest PA, the part that might as well belong to Canada, we're paying $4.69 per gallon. In the Harrisburg area, the average price is only $4.48 a gallon, roughly $1.19 higher than a year ago. Prices have not jumped, at least not just jumped. They've risen almost daily in recent weeks, a steady pattern that has pushed costs for drivers much, much higher. Nationally, the average price reached $4.48 per gallon on Tuesday. Analysts say global tensions are a major factor. In the 2 months since the U.S. and Israel went to war with Iran, Americans have spent a combined $24 billion more on gasoline, according to Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. That's the news at this hour. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, FM stream, Radio Line, Streama, Roku, and Alexa. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.